Because it's not a situation of real life. There can be no personal reaction there. Right? If you are not appreciating, if this is useless performance, again you will go away. So the stage is a place where you react, not as you react to things in the world. There you will watch. And when you are seeing different characters, you are not seeing them personally. So Dushyant and Shakuntala are neither your enemies, nor they are your friends, nor you look upon them as, as somebody related to a ordinary human situation or equation. An old lady will not look upon Shakuntala as she looks upon his daughter-in-law. And the play please go and see there. It is an impersonal relationship. The emotion that I feel there is an impersonal relation. Now, what are the advantages of personal emotion? Now, let me tell you that. Okay, you want a question? Okay, I'll explain. I know what you are. मैंने आपका दिमाग पढ़ लिया. Telepathy. What is an impersonal emotion? An impersonal emotion is that in which there is no possibility of a personal reaction. I cannot personally react to the character on the stage because there is no connection. The impersonal emotion is such that I feel that emotion very comfortably. You see, we do not like being sad in life. We don't want to sit and cry unless we are psychopathic and we need psychological treatment. But we like to go to theater, to cinema and cry. We pay for it. And we feel relieved. After shedding lots of tears. You see, if somebody dies next door, you don't say, once more. If you say so, you will get a beating. Maybe that will happen to me. Instead of somebody in that house, it will happen in my house and to me. But in Natyagraha, we always say once more, okay, please do this again. Why? Because I want to enjoy that emotion again and again as it is safe to do that, as it is impersonal. All right, if you want to be that correct in your language, yes. We personally like to be impersonal. There are some people who like it because, and these people are called lovers of art. And those who don't, they don't like art. Yes. So those who like art, they like impersonal emotion. So what Bhattanaayaka says, that this phenomena takes place. It is called sadharanīkarana, which in turn leads to a further expansion of emotion. So when I see that emotion, on stage in which I can participate. See, because the ordinary world is full of attraction and revulsion, rag and dvesh. If I like something, I'd like to go and have it. Some way or the other, I'd like to have a relationship. Or if I don't, then I'll run away from it. So, in life, I am always disturbed when I'm feeling an emotion. So even if my beloved is in my arms, I get the thought, maybe she'll leave me tomorrow for a more handsome man, right? Or for a richer person. Or I'm too old now to keep her attention. All these, in real life, all these doubts, they come in. And therefore, that moment of union with the beloved cannot be enjoyed unalloyed, nirvighna. In art, there is nirvighna ananda of that emotion. Right? You see, this question of personal and impersonal is very important. I don't want to touch upon something, how it becomes a whole philosophic or a spiritual experience right now. Let me just continue with Bhattanaayaka. This expansion is known as bhavakatva. So when I really go into that emotion, when I deeply enjoy that emotion, because it is impersonal, because there are no personal threats in it, then I have that expansion of emotion, and that is called bhavakatva. Remember, he postulates three things: bhavakatva, bhojakatva and sadharanikaran. So we begin by sadharanikaran, that sadharanikaran happens and it results in bhavakatva. Yes, feeling the emotion impersonally, universally, that is sadharanikaran. No, and yes, and going deeply into that emotion is bhavakatva. This new state subdues or even eliminates the baser passions and vital urges, tamo and rajo guna, from the heart of the spectator. तो भावकत्व से होता क्या है? What does भावकत्व achieve? What is the significance of bhavakatva, which is available to you because of sadharanikaran in natya, or in art, or in painting, or in music? That it subdues the rajo and the tamo guna. Now, subduing the rajo and the tamo guna is an essential part of sadharanikaran as well. Just let me briefly mention this. Later on you can ask questions about this. When we see Krishna Leela on the stage, then we are not only witnessing it as Nayak and Nayika, but as Bhagavan. And there all the Rajogun and the Tamogun is subdued. But even when we are not watching the characters as divine, but as worldly characters, because, like Shakuntala and Dushyant, because of impersonal emotion, the Tamogun and the Rajogun is subdued. Because personality lies in making personal, Rajasic and Tamasic demands. Sattvic demands will be more towards universal, more in the benefit of others. Yes, you will be detached only when Rajo and Tamo are subdued. So, Bhavakatva result in a subsidization of Rajo and Tamo Guna. Yes, please, question.
We all have come to know that Mahatma Gandhi had witnessed a play of Harishchandra.
Yes.
And from then on, he proclaimed that he would not want to lie anymore. Now, I want to ask from the point of a spectator and what he witnessed in a play, the process of rasa, keeping that in mind, it cannot come as a very sadharana karana, impersonal emotion over there, whereas he's carried, there must have something been over there that was staged that has affected his personality, and he's carried with him, and he wanted to bring about that change. Where does this fit in?
With this idea propounded by Bhattanaayaka, is that your question? Well, certainly it simply does. Because when Mahatma Gandhi saw that play, and when he felt what Harishchandra is doing, he looked upon it in a very non-selfish way. And his Rajo and Tamo Guna were subdued, and his Sattvic Buddhi, his finer intelligence came into a play. There was bhavakatva, obviously, but after that experience, after that aesthetic experience, his sattvic buddhi took up the decision that he shall never lie. So, getting reformed morally through the play is a later act, but that does happen when you watch the play. This is what Bharat Muni also says, that the play is something which is an lokahita, which is something which improves the character of people. That is why it is the Pancham Veda. Yeah, go ahead.
So over here, it was a transformation of a personality that he's added to himself. Now,
Yes.
suppose the person who's sitting in the play is another artistic person, and who's like, he feels another creativity that is bound. And this results in another process of rasa. Can you say that rasa from the spectator can be passed on back to creating another form of rasa then?
No, what you are perhaps trying to say is that while watching a performance, can an artist think of creating another performance? Yes, but then...
Does one experience of rasa lead to another creation of another rasa?
Now, rasa is in a performance. If you watch a performance, as an artist, you may get ideas about creating another performance. But the rasa of that other performance will come only when you have performed it. So when I am watching Bharatnatyam of, let us say, this young lady, and I say, okay, this is how she is dancing, it's great, and I am feeling the rasa. Then I say, but then I can do it this way. And then I try, and by I don't mean I, because I'll never be able to do it. But when, as a spectator, I get an idea as to how I can create something, then I will do it as an artist. That is a different phenomena. The moral reform of Mahatma Gandhi was inspired by theatre, but the fact that he was able to reform himself morally is a different phenomena. So, I can be inspired by a performance and create another, and this is exactly what happens. That's why people go to sleep. the performance of other artists so that they can create things, they can have their own creation. Now to continue and just finish Bhattanayak in the next 5 minutes. You have a question? All right.
The person who is the spectator can have bibhatsana by watching that
Is your question something like this, that if the actor is performing Shringar, I can interpret it as Bibhatsa?
it can lead that person not maybe that I'm not into getting the feeling that rasa in me, but that over Shingara in that person can lead me to bibhatsa, while watching like that. That's what.
You mean your personal reaction can lead you to feel disgust while you are watching in a performance of Shringar? Well, yes, this can happen if art is very bad, if the production is awful, then you will be disgusted.
The greatness of the actor can make Shringar and Vatsa.
Yes, if the actor is so great, or if you have reached such a high level of vairagya in your life that every act of Shringara is meaningless for you, then that could happen. I could give you an example of this from Bhartrihari. In the Vairagya Shatak, he says, Mukham Shleshmagaram. He says that, look, this beautiful face, the mouth which you want to kiss, what is it? It's full of spit. It's nothing. So if you have the emotion of vairagya of that deep kind, then all these worldly pleasures will be disgusting to you. But then these are exceptional examples. See, we are not talking here of normal responses or average responses or expected responses to art. We are talking here of something which can happen in very special cases or something. There is, in the Yaksha Prashna, there is the story called Yaksha Prashna in Mahabharata, where the Yaksha asks questions from Yudhishthir, and Yaksha says, which is the biggest wonder in the world? What are you most surprised about? He says the biggest wonder is that people see others dying every day, but they never think that they will also die one day. So, this is a philosophical response of the Dharmaraj Yudhishthir. Ordinarily, people see others dying every day, they take them to cremation grounds, and they never think that they themselves will die, and hence their life should be different from what it is. So, different people have different responses, but there is a samanya, an average response, and we are talking in terms of those average responses, most likely responses to art here. All right, to complete then this whole thing, seeing that for Bhattanayak rasa is pre-existence. This bhavakatva or expansive feeling is the whole process of rasa nishpatti and enjoyment. Let me go a few lines above. The new state, that is of bhavakatva, subdues or even eliminates the baser passions or vital urges, tamo and rajo guna, from the heart of the spectator. it creates a force of subtler feeling, satvodreka, and peaceful delight, which is akin to the joy of knowing the Supreme, as is done by the yogis in Samadhi. So, the concept that bhavakatva, experiencing the emotion to such a depth or an expansion impersonally through sadharanikaran, takes you to a state of joy. And this joy is Brahmananda Sahodara. It is like the brother, Sahodara, born of the same belly, born of the same mother. This rasa is like Brahmananda. It is not Brahmananda, but it is like. So the famous idea that rasa is Brahmananda Sahodara. It is the brother, younger or elder, I don't know, but it is the brother of Brahmananda, has been propounded by Bhattanaayaka. And all those who value art and rasa have taken to this idea, Brahmananda Sahodar, and talked a lot about it because it elevates art. Just as Bharat Muni made Natya Shastra the Pancham Veda, Bhattanayak makes rasa, Natya rasa or rasa in different shilpas and kala as Brahmananda Sahodara. So it's a great value elevation that has now taken place. This bhavakatva or expansive feeling is enjoyed or is tasted by the spectator. The spectator tastes it, bhujyate. And that is why this tasting is called bhojakatva. So sadharanikaran leads to bhavakatva, and bhavakatva gives us the experience of rasa, which is Brahmananda Sahodara, and tasting this rasa is bhojakatva or partaking of the rasa. Mammat, while citing the view of Bhattanayak, adds that it is the sthai bhava which undergoes expansion. However, so Mammat adds this. It is not in Bhattanayak. According to Mammat, a later commentator, Vyakhyakar, it is sthai bhava which leads to bhavakatva. But this is not what is said in the original text by Bhattanayak or quoted Bhattanayak. Adds that it is the sthai bhava which undergoes expansion. However, Abhinava's citation of Bhattanayak views does not make clear as to what exactly undergoes expansion. Is it the sthai bhava, or is it the vyabhichari bhava, or is it the both? This is something which we do not know. Seeing that for Bhattanayak rasa is pre-existence, for what else can it be if it is neither born nor perceived as a result of anukarana? It can be said that bhavakatva is really the expansion of rasa itself, which is dormantly present in the emotions. So according to Bhattanayak, rasa is always there as an essential part of bhava. That is why it is called bhavakatva. If you can just spare a minute, it's a philosophic argument. Something cannot come out of nothing. So bhavakatva can only come out of bhava. If rasa is coming out of bhava in bhavakatva, then rasa is already present. It is then not again generated, it is already there. This is the philosophic argument. You see, all these people, these commentators, they have certain philosophic positions about the nature of the world, the philosophical positions which they have taken. And for them, rasa is nirvigna, rasa is brahmananda, rasa is already there, and if it is already there, it's Brahm is already there, then rasa is already there, so it cannot be created just as Brahma cannot be created. This is their position. That's why they make this observation. For our purpose, only at the level of artistic expression, it is important to note that it is bhavakatva through sadharanikaran which creates rasa, and this is the contribution of Bhattanayak. So Bhattanayak therefore does not deny the role which is played by the actor or the nut on the stage. He does not deny the anusandhana bal. He does not deny the anukaran vilakshanata which is created by the nut and which is mentioned by Shankok. He doesn't deny, but he says the real experience of rasa happens in bhavakatva, in sadharanikaran. So sadharanikaran creates bhavakatva where you have rasa, because this bhavakatva is elevation, great elevation of feeling. If there was no Bhattanayak, there would be no concept of bhakti rasa, because it is with this presumption that in your bhav alone you can achieve the ultimate. This comes with the doctrine propounded by Bhattanayak. See, this is how historical developments are taking place. Whereas the postulation of expansion and tasting, bhojakatva and bhavakat, have been strongly criticized, Bhattanayak's sadharanikaran has been accepted as a major contribution to the exposition of rasa. So in the history of Bhattanayak is perhaps lived somewhere in 6th or 7th century or 8th century. He is before Abhinav Gupta, because Abhinav Gupta cites him. And no, he doesn't have. No, what I observed just now was that once you have the idea of bhavakatva as rasa, and this great elevation which subdues rajo and tamo guna, then art becomes a clear medium of bhakti. Unless rajo and tamo guna are not subdued, how can you have bhakti? You cannot. So when somebody comes up and clearly postulates and states that, look, art brings in a subjugation of rajo and tamo guna, then those who are bhaktas will find bhakti, art useful for bhakti. If art was considered as something which did not transform you and prepare you for the sattva, then you will not consider art as a medium of bhakti. This is the observation I made. So Bhattanayak is 8th century, etc. Although the doctrine of bhakti predates 8th century, it is found in Bhagavad Gita, which is certainly much before. However, bhakti as the great movement, bhakti as a great practice comes a little later. It existed in certain parts of India already. There were great bhaktas, particularly in the south, because it is from the south that bhakti travels to north. The great contribution of south was the bhakti formulation.